Clockwork Orange, like many Kubrick films, is multifaceted and tackles lots of different themes, but I want to talk about the film's plot and how there is evidence to say that Alex wasn't actually affected during the film entirely. Now, there are several hints that the cure worked and didn't work. Evidence for it working would be that Alex genuinely seemed to be conditioned against Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Thus, once he hears it, he genuinely tries to off himself. Alex also does appear to be sick, thus him constantly burping, suggesting he wants to retaliate with violence. The Ludovico technique is making him constantly sick. Thus, when he tries to punch Joe the Lodger, he's unable to, or him being unable to fight back against the homeless people, or him being unable to follow through with sexual desire when he has been shown to the audience his Ludovico technique results. Evidence against it. Once Alex returns to his home, we clearly see two pictures of Barely Cloverwood, which, as we can see earlier, Alex's sexual desires are supposed to be repressed, due to him associating sex with violence, thus making him sick, which I think is really clear. Kubrick placed them, made them clearly visible to the viewers for this very reason. Another aspect of Alex's character is that he's often lying, whether that be to Mr. Deltoid about him not being involved in the beating of Billy Boy's gang, to the assaults in the home in order to let himself and his gang into the house, to his parents, to the arresting officers, where he pleads his innocence. This aspect of his character is hinted at by his mask, which is supposed to represent Pinocchio. He also, of course, wears a fake eyelash, and there was a poster designed in which Alex holds false teeth in front of his mouth, hinting at him being a liar and of course him being an unreliable narrator. And during his time in prison, before entering, we clearly see he lies about his own name, which he tells the prison officer,
Alexander Delarge, sir.
Whilst in reality, we see in the film's newspapers, his real name is Alex Burgess. Before he gets the treatment, he acts like he isn't aware of it to the doctors and nurses, despite him clearly reading the newspapers, and him first bringing up the technique to the prison chaplain. Thus ties into the idea of Alex constantly performing and acting throughout the movie. We see him very dominant around his drugs, and he even seems to try and make them laugh during his singing in the rain scene. Whilst when he's with Mr. Deltoid, he acts almost childlike. And Alex, I believe, mostly acts/plays the victim throughout the film, and especially during the Ludovico technique. Now, yes, I believe he is in genuine discomfort with his eyelids, however he constantly burps as a reaction to violence. However, we can clearly see in the film him being able to burp on command, which he does to the police officer. And when Alex is shown during the demonstration to the government officials, it's made to look like a big stage play. Thus, on the stage, the use of actors and the big spotlight. He even asked the Minister of the Interior if he did a good job. We see when Alex is being recruited, he tells Alex that he hopes that he makes the most of the chance he's been given. Which, if the technique worked, Alex wouldn't have any control over that issue. Thus, the Minister is basically telling Alex, do a good job acting. Thus a reason for him to fake it, as he gets his sentence reduced from 14 years to the 2 years he's served, a couple of weeks of comfortability, in turn gaining freedom. You'll notice the real Alex comes out when he's alone or he knows he's not being watched, like when he jumps from the window after hearing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, or when he's essentially teasing the writer, when he starts to singing in the rain. So much so, when he does so, Alex is covering his face, thus a visual clue of Alex believing the writer doesn't recognise him, and thus teases him, though it could be him believing that the writer couldn't hear him from the bathroom. And we even see Alex says that he quite likes to watch films, and during the Ludovico technique, he talks about the actor's performance, as well as liking how the action was filmed and the sound. Thus another clue of him and his performance, which we see the film even hints at the cure being a load of nonsense, when Joe the Lodger calls it, in my opinion correctly, Alex and him playing the victim, which in the same very scene, we see Alex clearly getting angry at Joe, and wanting to hit him, but he holds back, feigning illness, again burping. Overall, I think there's enough evidence to suggest Alex was never really cured, and was acting/feigning being sick, and was not receptive to the treatment, due to the benefits tending to do so. Thus, in turn, he would get his prison sentence reduced. Though I do believe he was conditioned against Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, apart from that, in my opinion, Alex was faking it the whole time.